6 o'clock, we'll start the meeting up. If you want to rise, we'll start off with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Hopefully everybody has signed in out into the sign-in sheet up front. And our exits are marked, and if you have cell phones with you, we ask that you have them turned off so you don't get interrupted in the middle of things. And we can have a roll call.
Henry Hill?
Yes.
Roger Black?
Here.
Marian Alexandro?
Here.
Melanie Marr?
Yes.
David Duquette?
Here.
Steve Imhoff?
Here.
Alan Reese?
Here.
Brett Baker?
Here.
Dean Schneller?
Here. Okay. And can we have a motion to approve that the meeting was advertised as required?
I'll make a motion.
And a second? And then roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill?
Yes.
Roger Black?
Yes.
Marian Alexandro?
Yes.
Melanie Marr?
Yes.
David Duquette?
And can we have a motion to approve the minutes and waive the minutes from last month and waive the reading of those minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Second. And roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill?
Yes.
Roger Black?
Yes.
Marian Alexandro?
Yes.
Melanie Marr?
Yes.
David Duquette?
Yes. And we can go right to new business with Steve.
Good. First appeal, guys, front and center. It's going to be Appeal 2365, Behavioral Services North, 2155 Route 22. They're seeking a use variance request to be allowed to build an additional facility for the clinic, which is now pre-existing non-conforming in a neighborhood commercial zone in a commercial district. We have some pictures that Mr. Reese can go over with you guys to get you familiar with what was submitted to us.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, this is 22B down here, Westland Avenue here, Route 3 here at the top. You can see this large parcel is owned by the applicant. They currently have a building right here. They're looking to put a building right behind it. So you can see this is all R2 over here. This is neighborhood commercial. This is neighborhood commercial on the other side. So a little close up, you can see this is their existing facility, existing parking. They're looking to add a building about this location here with some parking over on the side. So it looks like today. So basically right behind where the dumpsters are at, that's where the front of the building will be. So there's some plans that was drawn up by AES. So this is the existing situation. Here's what they proposed. So this is the new building. This is the new parking. Landscape plan. You can see they got some vegetation going around the back side, stuff like that. And there's a close up. Mr. Farrington, all yours.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Steve.
No problem.
Thank you, board members. Good evening. I'll try to keep this brief. We think we have a very unique project application before you tonight, and we think that we meet the 4-question test for a use variance. Specifically, and I guess I would look in reverse order to the 4 questions, starting with was the alleged hardship self-created? And the fact of the matter here is that Behavioral Health Services North has been functioning at this facility for over 15 years, and before that there was similar educational daycare uses, and it was only the change in the zoning code in 2023 that eliminated clinic type uses from the use table. So that was what created the hardship. They were fine. They've been providing really essential community services dating way back for 150 years. High demand for the services they provide in the community, health services. And I think I would add to that too, in terms of the zoning change, that I think it's worth noting that the intent of the NC district is to discourage, and right from the zoning code, discourage the large destination shopping centers, you know, your malls and your Walmarts, but specifically allowing neighborhood uses, commercial smaller scale, commercial uses. So and I'm kind of leading into in reverse order, the essential character of the neighborhood. So it very much is in keeping with the intent of the zoning code. It's in keeping with the neighborhood. And even if you look at the neighboring R2 zone, schools are allowed, educational services are allowed, a number of commercial uses are allowed. There is also a substantially sized parcel, 11.5 acres, that Alan described. You may have noticed or be familiar with the walking trails in the back. There's a community garden in the back, a lot of open space. Our plan recognizes there's a buffer rule in your zoning code. So we're very cognizant of that, and we're including significant landscape and buffering above and beyond that buffering requirement. In the zoning code, we're going to address drainage, so those neighbors will have no issues. And that's mostly a sort of a passive walking trail, and other than the expansion area, it'll largely be preserved. And then just kind of continuing through the list, is the alleged hardship unique to the property, and does it apply to a substantial portion of the district? It really is unique. The NC district is quite limited in the town. It's really just this parcel, and you guys correct me if I say anything wrong here, but and then the parcel across the street where you have the county fairgrounds and the old airport area. So it's very limited. NC district is a very limited thing with a specific intent of really just discouraging the large destination type shopping centers. We're not that. This is an existing facility that's providing a really important, essential, critical service to the community. And so we feel it's actually quite compatible with the zoning rules. And then lastly, I'm trying to move through these quickly, although I'm happy to discuss it more length if there's anything.
The main one for us really is the financial basis of it. If you don't pass that one, then the rest of them really don't matter.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's fair. Allow me to respond to that.
Yeah.
So the current assessed value of the property is $1.8 million. Now, the facility is approximately a 33,000 square foot of gross floor area, where it's providing various critical community health and well-being services. $1.8 million. Yeah. At a very conservative estimate of $250 a square foot, which is cha-ching going up every day. Now we're probably closer to 400. Conservatively, at $250 per square foot, it would cost $10 million for them to pick up their facility, because the town chose to remove their use, right, permitted use. They're operating just fine. The town comes along, decides that they want to change that use. That would be a hardship to them, where they would now be confronted with something in the neighborhood of a 10 to probably closer to $20 million construction. If they were to sell this, if they could sell this parcel for the assessed value of $1.8 million, then you could.
Million, no.
Yeah, right. At least, if not twice that. So the change in the zoning code really created a financial hardship for them. It's not really feasible for them to realize reasonable return on their investment, and that would be a substantial hardship. Meanwhile, the community would have an interim where they are without these essential services, which very well could have implications over the long-term viability of BHSN's ability to provide these services. In other words, they could go belly up if they were forced into not being able to operate under their current use. So I feel like we feel like that the question of financial reasonable return is answered. I mean, if you felt like you wanted us to elaborate on it, we would do that, but I feel like, you know, it's a pretty obvious, you know, lack of return on investment.
I'll go to our board members. Anybody here have any questions that they would like to have further information on, verification?
I'm curious about one thing. Is this an expansion of non-existing services, or is it services that are otherwise, scattered around the city, town?
I could
speak to that. Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Cook, and thank you for our ability to present today. You need to go. Sorry. I'll come up to the microphone in my own. Okay. I promise I won't sing. It's not coming up.
It's just for our recording purposes, so you're
Oh,
good.
am I good now?
You're good.
Okay. So thank you for the question, and thank you for the opportunity to provide some information. We've outgrown our space. We don't have enough parking for our staff. We don't have enough office space to do the work that we're currently doing. And through COVID, a lot of people ended up going remote and working remotely, but post-COVID, some of those rules of allowing that have come back and said, no, we can't do that, and we have to bring people back into the office while requests are, expanding, and we've just simply outgrown.
Okay, thank you. Dave? Open up the public hearing portion of the meeting, and anybody here would like to speak to this matter, they can come up to the mic and just say your name and state your concerns. And I know it went down to the county, so we have that to read into the record.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this did 2365, referral numbers 2026, building an additional facility and use clinic. It did go down to the county for a 239M referral, and it was 9 in favor of the action, 0 opposed the action, 0 abstained, and 0 were absent from there, Shannon, there, with no comments.
And
We got a hand.
Yeah, I have some questions and I apologize for being late. I work nights. I work afternoons and
you
evenings.
just come up to so we can make sure we get you recorded.
I'm Julie Quinn Ledoux. I own at 2165 Route 22B, which is right next door to them. They already expanded. They already put all their drainage from their parking lot right into the space next to my home. And now they want to expand again. And I'm very concerned. Very concerned. I resent the fact that all the letters from whoever sends them in this building says that you must not care if you don't show up for a meeting. I work a weird second shift, and I have to jump through hoops to be able to get time off to come here, because this is not my time to have a break. So I missed the part where they explained exactly what they're doing, but it sounds like they already don't have enough room for parking. They're going to want more parking space. They're going to want more building space,
Yes.
which means more drainage next to the property that I own. And I have concerns about that.
I understand your point. That would actually be something for the planning board, because they have to address all the drainage and all the site plans. We just look at it and say, is this going to fit according to what our criteria is to get a use variance for the area? But all the other problems, drainage, parking, vegetation, things of that nature, that would all be the planning department.
But I'm assuming that if they're here, then there's hoops that need to be jumped through.
So this is for the use. What Mr. Hale is saying is this is for the use of your concerns are Trevor and Jess. I think you've talked to them, the planning board of, it's off the board right there, the detention retention pond. It's right, yours is you have the RV, just to make sure I got the right.
The RV parked in the front yard on the corner, yes.
Yeah, just making sure. It's been a while. I think it's been, 9 years 10 years since you did the expansion? So the front detention, retention, that's where the water comes in, hits, slows down, and goes into there. That, and all the parking that, if you look on the board up there, we're further up there.
This is all new.
That's where the new one is, and that's where the building is looking, and the parking would be there.
And
So
where's it gonna drain to?
So those are that's what Mr. Hale is trying to say. That's the planning department. That's not what we review. We're here for the use. So I understand that you work different shifts. Planning is Trevor and Jess. You can come in and ask them specific questions on how much water, where's it going, or if it's going out back, or I don't know, and we don't know where that water is going. There is an engineer in front of you that you could possibly ask, but that's not germane to this board's questions. But totally, I get the concerns, and it was at the beginning they did have some issues. Am I going 9 years, 10 years ago? The initial, 17. So it's been a few years. But there's the applicants here, or Trevor, Jess, in the planning department could address. If you have any specific issues, there'd be the ones that you want to talk to.
And I would say that I'd be happy to schedule time with you to hear your concerns, to make sure that we can address
My
them.
main concern is, I don't know if you know, but at any point in time, if you dig down on my property, which is higher than where this goes to, you hit water at 2.5 feet. That means I've got water in my crawl space if there's any kind of precipitation. And when the snow melts, there's water in the crawl space. And I've got even more now because they put that drainage right next to the property. And now you want to expand again? I'm very concerned. And all the runoff from everything behind there, that all runs and it splits and goes right around my property.
And anybody else? If that, I can close the public hearing portion of the meeting. And again, I'll ask board members anything that they are looking at, what their sense is for this project.
Nothing.
Okay, if you look at the balancing test, cannot realize a reasonable return substantiated by competent financial evidence. I think the basic premise is that to relocate this whole facility would be astronomical cost compared to alleged hardship is unique and does not apply to a substantial portion of the neighborhood. And I don't believe that it does. It's and anybody disagrees can chime in that I'm looking at things wrong. Requested variance will not alter essential character of the neighborhood. It's been there for what was a school for I don't know how many years before this, and actually the same type of use practically with a lot of it there.
Yeah, very much so, decades.
Yeah, and the alleged hardship is not self-created, it was created by a zoning change, basically, so.
Can we confirm that it was in 2023, the clinic was removed from permitted uses?
Well, when our ordinance changed,
Yeah.
yeah, it was in there.
Okay.
I can point blank say, but we've missed 8. I think we've corrected 7 or 8 out of the whole book that was done. Some of them are lot line adjustments when it went 1 over, and we didn't.
So it
catch
wasn't deliberate move?
New.
Okay.
New.
Yeah. So, anybody would like to make a motion to approve the,
Need to do a seeker first.
we got a seeker on this? Sorry. Got ahead of myself.
Our understanding that the planning board is taking lead agencies as an unlisted action,
Okay.
and therefore there's no need for coordinated review.
So Helen, you're gonna do the seeker? Brett's gonna do the seeker?
So that the planning board is
Planning
handling.
board is lead agency on the secret.
Okay. So we don't need it?
No.
Okay.
Learn something new every day, don't you?
All right, so we don't need a seeker. Went through the balancing act for the use variance. Anybody like to make a motion then to either approve or deny the variance?
I moved to approve it.
Okay, and then we got a second? And a show of hands on that? And a roll call vote?
Henry Hale,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexandra, Melanie Marr,
Yes.
David Duquette.
Yes.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Mr. Barrington.
2366.
Alright, move on to the next one?
Yep. You guys come up front, appeal number 2366, Four Seasons Plaza at 23 Smithfield Boulevard. He's looking for a use variance request to be allowed to use a pre-existing abandoned drive-through use which is not allowed in a T5 town center district. Alan's got some pictures and where this is located.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this is Route 3 right down here. This is Smithfield Boulevard. Chicago Smithfield Boulevard. This plaza right here, we're talking about the end unit down here. So you can see all the red ST5 zone. So here's the building. You can see the little canopy right here where the drive-through is. Just want to point it, the last slide I have on here is an older picture that was provided by the applicant. So kind of like Little Caesars, when this was used before, you were supposed to enter up here, one-way traffic around the back, and then up to here and back out. The outside where you see is 4 cars parking, that is the drive-through lane. Up against the building was the loading area. Okay. Also, you can see how the parking lots were slanted. So this was one-way traffic coming from this point all around to this point. So there's what it looks like today. You can see that this is the drive-through. This is the backside, so I'm at the opposite end where UPS is, looking down that direction. You can see that they have signs here for UPS parking. That would actually be in the drive-through lane if this was to be approved tonight. So that I would recommend that be moved to the loading area where it should be. Also, this is loading area. You probably don't want people parking back there. Come on, advance. Okay, so I'm still at the same spot. I just took a picture down that way and took a picture back the other way. So we've got some storage back here. I'm not sure if this is gonna, hamper. Maybe this is where UPS should be coming in and parking over here out of the way or something, but they do have a Connex box and some storage back there, probably needs to be cleaned up. So this is that picture I was telling you about. So this is when it was approved before. You can see the arrows for one way here. You can see this right here was the loading zone up against the back of the building. And this is that drive-through lane that came around the corner. So back when that was open way back when, this is the plan that they used. I think that's it. All yours, ladies.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Susan Williams. I'm the office manager for Four Seasons Plaza. This is Tammy Duquette. She is one of the owners. Everything would still remain the same as it was, where it'd be the one-way traffic. The loading zone is only for when the liquor and wine warehouse has their trucks there, so it's not always in use. And the UPS parking, those spots are that she does park in front of her storage. And that second spot is just so that she can get out of where she is parking, but we can update that if necessary. I'm sure it'd just be a conversation with the tenant. We're just looking for the use variance to reuse the drive-through if it's possible. It's used as a financial selling point to tenants that they are in discussions with now. There's a few of them that definitely see a benefit of a drive-through window. So we're just looking to reuse it.
The basic statement that I need to make is that to prove financial hardship or whatever, we need to look at every single type of business that could actually go into that location and why it would not actually be feasible for you to have that there.
If they are restaurants that they're looking at right now.
I got that opinion, but still, you need to have every single, if you go through the zoning ordinance,
Yes, sir.
all the different items or stores or a dress shop or whatever, there's no reason one of those couldn't go in there and still give you the same income from it. And that's why we need to look at every one of those and say, why?
Because they're not asking us to rent right now.
I realize that,
Yeah,
but that
yes.
doesn't, we need to have that type of information to be able to say, the only way that you can make any money off that location is from this restaurant or whatever it is.
The question is, we had a bank there before, for like
Right.
15 years,
Yeah.
and we never had a problem before.
Right.
So now we have an issue. That's the only thing.
Well,
It was
That's,
existing.
you know,
Yeah.
it was existing, and now
Right, yeah.
we just, so basically, we're looking for answers. Why is it different from then to now? You know?
I barely remember, I might have
Yeah.
been here, I might not have been here. I'm just saying the way it is, according, when you look at the cannot realize a reasonable return substantial as shown by competent financial evidence.
So basically, you need to know
That you
the
can't
next
get a
time we
drug
present
test.
it, who we would have going in there, whether it's a financial institution, or if it's a restaurant, or if it's,
Why it won't
close.
work in there,
Okay.
there's too many in the area, da. If I'm saying something wrong, you guys can.
I will jump right in. So, drive-throughs. Anytime you have drive-throughs, they're called special use permits to make sure you're not creating something that is undesirable to the neighborhood. I'm going to throw out, if you guys have ever been to, and I'm going to put this on our planners because they're not here, Dunkin' Donuts Route 3. You're coming down, it's horrible. There's no slip lane to get in there. Cars are backing up. It's horrible once you get in the parking lot, you back up and you're almost back into the cars. So anything with a drive-through that you're taking internal cars, moving them in and around, it's a very specific use that we want to make sure it gets right and it's not turning into, let's just say, a use that's very good. And you get all this use, now it's cutting, now it's backing, now the whole place doesn't work because of one tenant. So by going, that's one thing for internal, for drive-through facilities. We make sure that they move smoothly in, out, then come out. I gave you an example of a bad one. I'm not saying that that was this, but that's what the bank came through before and said we average, I'm going to throw out numbers, 55 cars a day. We're not a high volume, we're not a key bank, we're not here, we're a credit union, so we only do 50 cars, and it's not going to clog up the parking lot, it's not going to do this. So their use was justified for what the use was, how small it was, compared to it was big. So the bigger it is, the more traffic, and you have to have slip lanes and fire lanes, as Mr. Reese was pointing out. If you're getting something that's going to have, what is the coffee shop that wants 70s or
Adirondack Roasters.
Yeah, or Adirondack Roasters, they were only, hey, we can barely even get 100 cars in here a day. If we get 100, that's our most. We usually get 30. So each use that's going in there would have to have a specific time, how many, what the impact is on the rest of them. Not only the rest, but the traffic analysis. So saying that we want a variance just because we want a variance,
right.
you can't get through the balancing test of those 4 questions that you asked or answered on there. So if you can't go through the first one, they can't go through the second, third, and fourth.
Gotcha.
So just, they don't give, well, we want it because we want it. If that makes sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So if you have a tenant that says, all right, we want to go in there, this is what it is, hours of operations, what we're doing, competent financial evidence that there's going to be X, Y, and Z, then they could entertain it, but want it just to want it? I'm not going to say no, but.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But like I said, you know, we haven't confirmed our contracts. We're looking at some contracts.
Good.
We just need to know whether we can move forward.
We can come back
With the
with more
conversations.
viable
Right.
information, and I would
Okay.
think that you probably want to say you want to table this matter so that you can get some more.
Yeah.
info.
Yeah, that's what we have to do.
What's a practical time span to table it?
When's the next meeting?
Yeah.
Well, you would actually have to have thing in like within a week or two to
The
go down to the
17th.
county, right?
They would, so to be in the April meeting, you'd have to have new paperwork submitted by the 17th, so next week.
Okay,
Okay.
we can do that.
Oh, definitely.
We can do that.
I know where to find you.
No, okay,
You wanna
that
do
makes sense.
fast, or-
Yeah.
No, that's good.
I think we can do it that fast, have the
Right.
paperwork back by next week, yes.
And now I do understand now. I certainly understand.
So that's one part of it though. The
Yeah,
other one, what Mr. Hale was saying, every other use that you'd have to go through. If it was a drive-through facility, if it's a restaurant that doesn't need it, it doesn't, you don't have to come here for this.
Right,
It's just going in there, we're not using it. So if you do try to go through a drive-through facility, then you gotta go through all the rest of the uses of
Okay.
why they can't go in there, and this is the only reason why this one can go in there.
Okay.
So it's just not as easy as that, but the submission date to
Right.
make it, you'd have to have that whole list of everything, dollars and cents, for them to start going through that checklist.
They might wanna push it
Yeah.
off a little bit.
You can push it off another month.
Well, our main question was, it was approved before,
Right.
and why isn't
Right.
it now?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was our
And if we
main
go
thing
to a
I wanted
company,
to
it's
know.
not a national franchise going in, you know, it's
No,
just,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
So you wanna make want us to make a motion, or you wanna ask us to table this matter?
We
Yes,
want
we
to table it.
absolutely.
And do you wanna try to really hit
Yes.
that, or you wanna?
No, we can hit that.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
But, you know, if something changes in the next 48 hours,
Right,
but
we'll let you know.
the 17th it's reasonable.
I think so.
Sometime you got a week. All right, we'll table it.
okay, so somebody say,
I move that we table it for a month. I prefer to be honest.
Okay.
You can't, it's okay to,
You can always, I mean,
if you get it in, you get it in, if not.
right, if
Right,
they,
right,
if they
okay.
can't, they do a letter to you saying, hey, can we
Table
push
it
it
for
to
the next
May?
one, yes.
You guys can authorize that, say, we'll see you in 30 days, but if you have to, we'll see you this.
So if you're not gonna make the 17th, put it in formal writing that you'd like an extension for another month.
Yes,
You have to, we use that though.
Okay.
The following meeting, otherwise you're gonna start back at square one.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
You wanna do that, all right,
Okay.
so we got the motion, we got a second, we got a show of hands, and we have a roll call vote,
Henry Hale,
yes.
Roger Black,
yes.
Mary Ann Alexander,
Yes.
Melanie Marr,
Yes.
David Duquette.
Yes. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, people. Make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.